Hello, I'm Scott Arthur and I'm the Councillor for Collintown Fairmile Head. What I wanted to speak to you today about in this short video is this major consultation which the Council is just starting. It's called Planning for Change and Delivering Services. Sounds positive, but what's driving that change the document focuses on is quite significant cuts which are coming the way of the Council. Over the next 4 years or so, the Council's facing a black hole of just over £100 million, and in the coming year it's expecting to save £28 million. This will result in hundreds of job losses, and we shouldn't forget that every council job lost is a service lost to the community. Rather at this stage in listing all the individual cuts which council officers are proposing, what the Council's chosen to do is consult on wider themes to think about, given the significance of these cuts, what the priority areas should be and how the Council perhaps could think about doing things differently. And that's why I've come here to Fairmile Head Park today, which is one of the key parks in my ward, because by investing in parks, and recently we had these goalposts added, we can encourage children and perhaps also adults to lead more active lives. In the longer term, that means we'll put less demand on council services and hopefully also less demand on our NHS. But I'm hopeful that the proactive theme will be much more than invested in goalposts and parks. I hope we'll also see an investment in active transport. In particular, I'd like to see us make it easier for children to walk, scooter and cycle to school. I'd love it if we had the kind of cycle infrastructure in our ward that's relatively common elsewhere in the city. So the second theme in the consultation focuses around inclusive economic growth. There's no doubt that Edinburgh has a successful economy. It's one of the strongest economies in the UK outside London. But the problem we face is not everybody in Edinburgh benefits from that growth. And one of the key questions in the consultation focuses on housing. And I guess for me there's a number of questions there. First of all, are we building enough genuinely affordable housing? And by that I mean either houses for social rent or mid-market rent. And secondly, are we investing enough in the existing housing stock which the council owns? Is it fit for purpose? Can we as Edinburgh citizens be proud of the council's housing stock and how it maintains it? So I hope that in this consultation people will think about that, and as well as thinking about building new houses which are absolutely needed in the city, also think about how much money we should set aside for investing in our existing housing stock. And the third theme of the consultation focuses around service excellence. There's no doubt that over the past few winters we've seen our footpaths, roads and cycle paths deteriorate significantly, and many of them are an utter disgrace. So I've no doubt that in this consultation people will be saying we should be spending more money on transport infrastructure. That's absolutely correct, but we also have to think about spending more money on our schools to make sure we've got the best school infrastructure in Scotland, and we also have to think about investing in things like play parks. I think Fairmile Head Play Park is absolutely excellent, but the one in Oxgangs really does need invested in, and I hope that happens soon. After that, I hope the council finds money to upgrade the one in Buxton. But that's just three things that I've listed, but I've no doubt people watching this will have their ideas about where the council should be prioritising. So once this consultation is complete in early December, the plan is for the council to look at what people say their priorities should be, what their thinking is, and they'll use that to prioritise a list of savings that they've already drawn up. They've already drawn up a list of around 65, I think, savings which they think could be introduced. If you read the newspapers, you'll see that this includes things like closing public toilets right across the city, including the ones in Collintown. It includes things like reducing library opening hours and also possibly cutting the number of classroom assistants in our school. So clearly some of these cuts are absolutely unacceptable, and I would honestly say I think all three of those ones which I've just listed are, but there's no doubt that the council has to make savings somewhere. So it's really important, I think, that people take part in this strategic consultation. Then when the council prioritises those 65 or perhaps more cuts in December, there absolutely will be a chance for people to feedback on those proposals as well. So hopefully, although we're in this difficult financial situation just now, hopefully as much as possible the services which the council does continue to run will reflect the needs of the local community. So if you're still watching this, you'll have recognised that I've spent most of the time talking about how we implement these cuts which Edinburgh faces. I would say one last thing. I think we should not accept that these cuts are inevitable. All of us should be calling on the Scottish Government to fund Edinburgh properly. I think the Scottish Government's had its budget cut by Westminster by about 1.7% over the last 4 or 5 years. City of Edinburgh Council's had its budget cut by the Scottish Government by about 8% over the same period. That works out to be around £220 per person in Scotland. We are the least funded council per person in Scotland, and I really do think that's something that has to be addressed. I think Edinburgh should be getting the funding it needs and deserves. In addition to that funding that it needs and deserves, I think Edinburgh should also have the right, if it chooses, to set a tourist tax, perhaps also introduce a parking levy on businesses with large car parks in areas which are highly congested. And in addition to that, I think it also should have greater powers to tax and regulate the Airbnb market, which is estimated, the short-term lets market in Edinburgh is estimated to take up around 10,000 properties, and we have absolutely no control over that just now. So I'll leave this just now, just by once again urging you to take part in that consultation. Thank you.